Look, being a dad just takes time. I just want to be able to be the best dad that I can be because, you know, unfortunately getting caught up in all that drama, it just plays such a negative part in your life, you know, and if I'm not good, then my family inherently isn't either. And that's where my time is more so going to. Or in the studio writing riffs.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Spencer Whiteout podcast. Rated R.
Criminal charges, bro.
Guess like we're avoiding the shark.
Yo, today Turbo Neck guy?
I'll give you a kiss. You give me your number.
That checked out a ton, dude. Tell me you felt.
We're Americans. We're the ones that are descendants from the 1776 musket-bearing motherfuckers.
Welcome to the Spencer Whiteout podcast, where we collect experiences as badges, memories as treasures, and stories as wealth. Today's episode features Jacob, the vocalist of the up-and-coming Australian metalcore band, PRAY4ME. In this episode, we talk all about the band's formation, early influences, writing process, live shows, and a track-by-track of the debut EP. Let's dive in. Yeah, so I gotta say, like, when I came across Body Bag on Instagram, I was blown away. I was so stoked on it. It was, you know, one of the strongest opening tracks I've heard in a while. You know, very punchy, bouncy riffs, nasty breakdowns, and I love the mix as well. So I was really stoked on that.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I've been writing this for a little bit. We were going to go somewhere else for mixing, but I've got a little bit of knowledge, and I've got a little studio here at home that I work from, and I just thought, stuff it, I'll give it a crack. See, you know, there's no time limit on anything, so I've just been kind of mixing it, and all the lads are pretty happy where we're at with it. For me, obviously, I've had to surrender to the mix.
And how did you get into heavy music, Jacob?
Actually, my older brother. I was always like a Buttrock kid. I loved my Nickelback. I loved like those old early 2000s like greatest hits. Well, I always loved stuff like Bullet, Avenged Sevenfold, all that kind of stuff until my brother introduced Parkway's Horizons album to me, and that's when it kind of just took off from there.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that answer a lot because I've interviewed a ton of Australian bands.
Yeah.
Talk about your previous bands and kind of starting up with music. What made you want to do it? Because you were in Diesect for a bit, you had a brief stint in Dealer, and then I noticed on your email as well, it said Slow Defeat Band. So what was that?
Yeah. We've had heaps of bands. What I've seen Parkway for the first time with Miss May I, The Devil Wears Prada. I think it could have been Devil Wears Prada. I could be absolutely butchering this, but it was a sick lineup, and I ended up seeing them live, and I was just like, this looks amazing. First time being in a pit. It was with my mate Jesse, and basically I just walked out of there that night, and I was like, dude, I need to do this. I need to do whatever that is, I'm going to do that. And that was pretty much it. So I've had probably 10 bands, all of them fallen through, whether, you know, commitment issues with other members or commitment issues with myself. It just, one way or another, it kind of always fell apart. But and plus, no one had any experience in anything, trying to get gigs, or would just be pub warriors, you know. Just go play a pub to one or two people. They probably hated it, but it was all fun and games, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And then how long have you been doing vocals?
I've actually been doing vocals, probably close to 10 years, but I've always kind of had them in the background. I just did it for fun, you know. I was just in my car or the karaoke bar, or, you know, I don't know. I didn't really bring them out. I was confident enough to do it, but I just always see myself as a guitar player. I always loved guitar, still do. I'm still not sure on vocals either, you know. It feels weird just kind of being up front, you know, can't hide. But yeah, I've been able to do it for a while, and it actually came down to like a band vote, because we were talking about vocals, and I was like, dude, I want to stay on guitar. Like, I don't want to go to vocals. And they were like, dude, we love your voice. Everyone loves your voice. Like, I was like, all right, well, let's have a band vote. Let's have a vote. And I got thrown in the deep end. So here we are.
Yeah, because you've never done vocals for a band before, and I was surprised because your vocals sound really great, really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just surprised. But it looks like on your Instagram you've done, you know, vocal covers and stuff, so you've kind of put yourself out there a bit.
Yeah, I've put it out there a bit. That all came with kind of announcing this band kind of thing, and I just wanted to kind of, before this all came out, I just wanted to see if I had it in me to do it, you know. And surprisingly enough, I had a lot of support from some friends and stuff. And so I just continued with it, you know?
Yeah. And what's that like? I mean, not being behind the guitar, like being the front man of a band. Do you think that's a role you want to grow into, or is there any ego there? How does that all work?
I don't know what it is, but I do feel a little awkward up there. Not like I still have the confidence to be up the front, you know, but I've played guitar for like 15 years, you know, and then jumping onto vocals and I don't have the stick in my hands anymore. I'm just like, what is this little freaking mic? Like, it just feels weird. It just feels
like,
odd,
what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, exactly. Like even doing like the video shoots, I didn't know what to do. It was just like, how do I headbang now? Am I looking weird or like what's going on? I will just roll with it for now, you know. I'm not trying to force myself. I'm not trying to force anything out. Just seeing if I like it or not. If not, I might find someone else and jump back on the stick.
No, I think it's working so far, and it's cool too that you're just kind of viewing this as like an experiment, you know, and that's how a lot of great art comes from, you know. It's like you try something, and if it works, if it lands and you're happy with it, then you just keep going with it, you know.
Yeah, exactly right.
And watching your music video too, I mean, you know, it looks like you're very passionate about this, so it's like, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah, definitely not lacking in the passion department, that's for sure.
So with the vocals, has there been any techniques you've learned, and how's that been going?
I don't know, I always found myself like a car vocalist. I just practice in the car, whether or not. It's just been over time. Things have grown. For me, I'm like, things kind of just click and then I understand. But until then, it's all just experimental. Technique-wise, I still really don't know what I'm really doing. I'd say it's false chord, I guess. I've tried more the fry kind of stuff, but that doesn't really work for me. I don't know why. I don't know if my vocal box is, you know, built for that. I just can't do it. It doesn't sound good. It just sounds like a screaming cat. I'm just kind of trying things as I go. If I hear someone, you know, Lorna Shore's perfect example. If I hear some of those noises, I'm like, I'll give that a crack. If it works, it works. If it sounds like shit, I just don't use it. But yeah, we're experimenting a lot. We've got 2 singles on the way and working on an album. And we're trying to bring back some old kind of vocal styles and old stuff. And I'm trying to incorporate my bassist. He does a lot of backups and stuff. And he was in a band called Nightmares back in the day with my guitarist. And he's got a really cool, unique kind of a Atreyu kind of sound. And I'm trying to incorporate some of that stuff as well.
Yeah, right on. And so how did this band Pray For Me come together?
It was kind of strange. Like after departing my last band, I was kind of done with music. I was going to pack up the tools. My guitarist hit me up, just saying like, you know, like, how's everything? How's the baby? And we had children at the exact same time. So we're kind of just chatting about family life and how's being a dad, like a newfound dad. And then we got chatting about music and stuff, and it kind of just all fell in my lap. And, you know, Gary came, and then Gary's like, dude, I've got literally 2 guys. One might be keen, one might not be. And then all of a sudden we've got the whole band. Again, it's the same thing with vocals. It's like, we're just trying it, you know, we just give it a crack. If we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't, you know. Not too much expectations on ourselves, you know, we're just enjoying it, you know, for what it is.
And then with everything being DIY, what are some of the best benefits and the toughest challenges?
Toughest challenge is definitely the mixing side. It took away from the creative because these songs were kind of finished ages ago, like a good year ago. I had these sitting here and I kind of worked on them a little more. Obviously, when Gary came in, I wanted to incorporate some of his riffs and stuff like that in there as well. So, but having to have the challenge of mixing it myself, like, it kind of took away from that creative aspect. I think DIY is really good. If you know what you're doing, yeah, great. But future, I'm definitely not going to be doing that. DIY is good in the aspect that you can kind of get music out whenever you want if you know what you're doing. But if you're like me and you're sitting on a mix for, you know, 4 months, then it could take away from a lot. You know, we could have been released a long time ago, but we're all perfectionists in our own ways. So we kind of just wanted to get the best product out that we could. But yeah, they're the pros and cons with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can release stuff fast, like you said. You kind of direct line of communication to fans and all that. But then there's also, you know, you just got to do the work yourself as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I heard something in, I think it's URM Academy. And the guy was saying, like, you're never happy with a mix, you just surrender. And that's always stuck with me. Mixes for me are like better when they're for someone else because, you know, I'm letting them decide like whether they're happy or not, you know. But for me, like, just sitting here making a 0.2 dB difference on things, and it's just like, then I get in the car the next day, your ears are changed, everything's different again. You get in the car and you're like, all that is shit. I got to go redo it all. Like, it's just, yeah. Well, there's so many different versions of those songs. I've listened to them probably a good 500 times already. I'm already over them.
Yeah, it's just a never-ending nightmare of tweaking.
Oh, bro.
Well, exactly like you said, too. I mean, I'm a filmmaker, and so they say, like, a movie's never finished. It's just released.
Yeah, movies would be even more in-depth. My brain would just fizzle out.
It's not just mixing the audio and the music, and then it's tweaking the color and then tweaking the edit. Oh, should we shave off a few frames here? Like, it's crazy.
Especially having like all like the soundscape stuff and like in the background to kind of, and then having that laid in with it and making sure everything is heard. That would be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. So speaking of films, if there was a movie that you could put Pray For Me's songs into, what would it be?
You know the movie The One with Jet Li? He had a movie where basically he was like fighting himself. And this is actually one of the first times I heard metal, like proper metal. I think on that was the Disturbed track. I'd say I put it on that fight scene. I'll put Pray For Me there.
Yeah, solid answer. And then how about some of your best and worst live shows over the years?
Worst? Let's start with worst. So my old band called Noose, we loved playing outside the box. So we loved playing like in Queensland, like in called Maryborough, Bundaberg, all that kind of stuff, besides Brisbane, a little way out of the way. We played this show. It was like a mini fest, so there was probably like 50 to maybe 80 people, but it was in just a real small town. I remember like one of the breakdowns hit and I seen some dude get thrown through a table. I seen people in the pokies room in the next area, like people were getting money out and like throwing them at each other. And it was just wild, absolutely wild. I come outside and then I see two people literally in a punch on and I'm trying to load my gear past them into our car. And then they literally stop and they're like, oh yeah, sick. The typical like, sick set, bro. And they go back to arguing again. We're just like, oh dude, let's just get out of here. That's why we loved it too, because it was just so rowdy. Like people didn't give a shit. Like there was no security, no nothing. But obviously it's a ticking time bomb, that's for sure. But I'd say it would be like the worst. Maybe like the best, I'd say, was the last show I played with Diesect. We did like a Knock Loose cover. I think we did play Mistakes Like Fractures. We played like a really long set. It was just really wholesome too, because I literally had a baby like 3 days before. So like I'm running off, like no sleep. It was just like I'm literally just about to have 3 weeks holiday just to look after the child and just start this new life kind of thing. And I played that show and it just felt really wholesome, Everyone's just, hugging and it felt like, like I'm just turning a chapter on my life. It was, everyone went nuts. It was just such a great show. It was a good experience, And Vinny's is our hometown, So it was a good way to send into the dad life,
Yeah. And so what was behind that decision to leave Diesect? Because it sounds like you had a really good time in that band for a while.
I'd always say like becoming a parent is going from, living selflessly to selflessly. Like I'm not on my time anymore. I'm on the baby's time. She tells me when she wants to eat. She tells me when she wants to go to sleep. And it's up to me to give her the best life, a better life than I had, And I struggled with that. I didn't understand, not only that, and then running off, 3 hours or 2 hours sleep every single day. It's takes a toll on you. And I just couldn't write any music. I couldn't get motivated, and it affected our friendship within the band. And I just said, I need to, in order to save our friendship, I need to go kind of thing. I need to sort myself out. And yeah, and not only that too, like with music, the music you see that's out there now is the stuff that was written then. I've always had a bit of a different style to what they're releasing now. So like I didn't want to have that confrontation of arguing about what sound we should be going for and trying something new. I just left, for the benefit of my mental health and the family.
Yeah. Understandable. Makes sense.
Yeah.
September 2023, I interviewed Damien from Diesect, and we talked all about, the band and everything and the different directions they're going. And it's really cool too to see that they've changed their lineup a bit. And now they have Zeno in their lineup and they're doing some rapping and stuff too. It's a cool style.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really unique. I said that to Damo ages ago. Now fast forward, they're doing it, and it's really cool to see. Take my hat off to them.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to go check out that episode, that's episode 28 of the Spencer Whiteout podcast.
Yeah, sick.
All right. So let's talk about a track by track of your guys' debut EP, which is out now on all platforms. The first track is Awakening. This is kind of an intro track to set the tone.
Yeah. Originally, that was supposed to be with Delirium. But I kind of made the decision to pull it apart because Delirium already had an intro. I didn't want to have an intro into an intro. Like, it just didn't really make sense. And when I wrote that, I had the idea of more of a live aspect. It's more of a pump up kind of tune, I guess.
And then Delirium, this one's a really fast track. I love the last breakdown, so unique. I love the high scream. It just sounds like an explosion at the end of the song, or it sounds like a balloon being filled up and then just pops.
Yeah, thank you. That was the idea behind it. Super, super heavy. That was one of the first tracks that was kind of completed. That's probably one of the heaviest to me anyway.
Yeah, and let's talk about Body Bag. This is the first single. This song's awesome. I love that it's kind of a defiant battle cry, and I love the lyrics, but I'm no longer chained. I've learned my lesson. I've learned it the hard way. Death script slips and fades, so here's to a new dawn, a life reclaimed. Nothing short of badass here.
Oh,
this is awesome.
I faced my demons myself. I was a bad alcoholic for a while. It really ramped up just before COVID. So my old job, I got sent around Australia building marquees and building festivals, did like the V8s, Blues Festival, all that kind of stuff. And the culture there was, obviously I was single at that time as well. Like, there was just, all I wanted to do was work and, you know, be with friends. And the culture there was just, you work 12-hour days minimum. You go back to the accommodation and you just drink until you fall asleep. I love all those guys there. And basically, when everyone came home, they could turn it off. And unfortunately for me, I couldn't turn it off. So I drank for like a good 4 years straight. And it got to the point where I was drinking, you know, like cartons at a time. I'd sit there and drink easily, you know, 50 beers in one session. And it got to the point where I started losing cognitive function. I've permanently given myself like irritable bowel syndrome from it because my body can't produce good bacteria to break down. It's a lot better now, and I have signs before it starts getting bad again. I go, all right, we'll cut myself off certain foods and stuff. But from there, like, my liver couldn't break down proteins. So then I started getting fat on the liver and all that kind of shit. And yeah, so the reference at the end of that is all I seen was red only months before my potential end was basically taken from, I went to the doctor, I finally faced the music and wanted to face the problems I was having, and I had a really high alcohol reading in my liver. He told me to take 2 weeks off, came back and I still had alcohol in my system 2 weeks with no drinking. And then he said, he's like, well, we got another test. I came back and he pretty much showed me the sheet. He goes, you know, see all these? He's like, these are your liver counts. This is your liver count. And it's all red. The whole thing's red. He goes, I'll give you 6 months before you have a liver failure. That's death for a lot of people.
Wow.
So it obviously scared the shit out of me. And I gave myself 3 months off, and then I drank again once, and then I gave myself another 3 months, and we're good. We're good now.
Yeah.
I take it off to my partner too. I can't take credit for it. She did the most brave thing a woman could do when we first met. She goes, you know, we both like to drink. We both like to have a good time. She goes, this could be the most toxic relationship ever. So I want you to show me you can do it and you want this enough. And I did. She goes, we'll have a whole month sober and we'll go from there. From there, we both just cut back on alcohol and trying to only drink on occasions, or, you know. But yeah, that's what Body Bag's about me potentially drinking myself to death. It's pretty hectic.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I appreciate your vulnerability, and like, that's really powerful stuff, and I'm glad you're in a better place now too.
Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, I've always been known to be that person to turn up at a party with too much alcohol and leave with none.
No, I hear you. I like to be the life of the party too, but you know, the older you get, you realize that like it's not going to be a sustainable lifestyle, you know. Definitely not. And then let's talk about Ruby. This is a ballad track.
I wrote Ruby just after I left my old band. I was going through the motions of, you know, do I want to do this anymore? Do I not? And I thought to myself, you know, I want to give one more track, and that's obviously for my daughter. I wanted to write her something just in case. Not just in case. I'm not trying to predict my own death or anything, but, you know, I wanted like... So it's like, I just wanted to write her something to... And my partner sings on the track too. So we wanted to sing her something to, you know, later on in life, we wanted to have something for her to let her know that, you know, like, we love you. We love you. You've done more for us than anybody on this world can, you know. So that's more of a dedicated track to her. And it was a hard one for me to sing too, man. I've sat in this studio bawling my eyes out because I'm just sitting here going, you know, trying to rewrite lyrics, and You know, the lyrics that kind of stand out the most was, I wanted the darkness so lost and so low. I was broken with nowhere to go. A constant fight of meaning. No blood, yet I was bleeding. I was so scared of the world. It was you that I was needing. That's the most meaningful part of it to me, you know. Just to let her know that, like, you know, mum and dad are here and we'll always love you no matter what.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And then what about Gutless? This one's like a really fast track, got some blast beats. You got to reap what you sow in there. Love that.
Yeah, that song's more of a F you approach. That was more of a, you know, sick of dealing with these type of people. Sick of dealing with narcissism. And plus at that time too, I was starting to get back into some old music, like some of the Parkway stuff. I was also getting into a bit of power violence, and I just wanted to write something that was fast, heavy, and surprising too.
Yeah, and then the last track on the EP, Null and Void, this track really was a full journey.
Yeah, that's what we wanted for it. We wanted something to end it. We had like the typical double chorus kind of scenario with, originally I sung on it again. I just didn't like it. And then it was James, our drummer, who come up with the idea. He goes, why don't we just end it with like a hectic breakdown? He goes, cut the vocals out of it and just have something that just really played it out, and it just kind of felt like it resolved the EP, if that makes sense. That was the whole intention of it. We did what we needed to do and we set out and accomplished it. So, but yeah, lyrically that song is a bit weird. It's a bit all over the shop for me. I kind of was just taking things that I'd like thought of during the day. If I'm at work, I just noted it down on my phone, and just lyrically it's more so about, you know, kind of reclaiming friendships, knowing that everyone's gone in like a certain path, and just kind of, you know, accepting things for how they are, and kind of going, hey, like, here's my hand, brother. Like, I know like shit's tough, but I'm here for you always, no matter what's going on, kind of thing. And that's what Null and Void is, to try and lyrically and musically kind of tie off this whole EP.
Yeah, right on. And what are your favorite lyrics from the EP?
Gutless, right before the first breakdown, I've used a quote from LOTR, which is, keep your forked tongue behind your teeth. As Gandalf said that to Wormtongue in the Two Towers, I was like, you know, I'm going to steal on that. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, perfect breakdown call out. I love that.
Yeah. And it's a movie quote from my favorite movie of all time, so even better.
And then you guys did 2 music videos for this EP, and you worked with Brida, so there's no bad blood there with your previous bandmate?
Yeah, well, he's been my best friend since high school. He's the godfather of my child. Even before all this band stuff happened, like, I'm not saying like we're all perfect people here. There's always going to be, you know, something to talk about, but at the end of the day, like, he still is one of my best friends. And plus, he's such a talented dude behind the camera, you know. He's always helped us out. He's always done well. We've been best mates for so long, so it's just kind of almost a no-brainer, you know?
Yeah, I love his work. I mean, his stuff, it's simple and you can tell it's low budget, but it looks high quality and good production value. And I like all the effects and stuff he puts in there. So I've liked his work.
Well, not only that, like, what people don't see is the kind of shit that he puts in behind the scenes. And what I mean by that is, like, everyone's having fun and he's just like, let's get some more movement. But like, he's really encouraging for people who haven't really done it before. It kind of puts a confidence in you. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to go back to, because it's just like, you know, he's the bro. He's been around for forever. He knows what our vision is. He knows how to get it out of us. I just go, whatever vision you think this should be, you do that. And he nails it on the head every single time.
And then what would be a dream producer to work with one day?
I'd love to go in the studio with Lance. That would be really cool. Putney's a big one. I just love the kind of hardcore aspect that he has to things. But yeah, obviously there's Buster as well. The stock standard, you know, for the industry standard stuff. But I've never really thought of that question. You've kind of stumped me.
Well, dude, I mean, you named 3 of the greatest producers that are working today. So, I mean, those are all solid answers.
Yeah, exactly. We're planning to work with a guy named Mo Productions. I think he's from Sweden, I think. I could be butchering that. But he's an up-and-comer. He's on YouTube and stuff. He does like a lot of mix kind of rundowns and stuff like that. He's really knowledgeable. We'll be working with him next. But yeah, he's got some really, really gnarly stuff.
And then what about like a dream collab, like a feature? Like, who would you love to feature in a Pray For Me song?
All Mate from Kublai Khan, that'd be gnarly. I'd just come up with some absolute meathead section for him to take over. And yeah, it'd probably be him. That'd be a bit of fun. Cool accomplishment if that happened.
Yeah, there you go. We'll have to tag him on Instagram and make a big deal about it. So as we've seen, anything can go viral in the metalcore scene. You got all this drama. Like, dude, a couple weeks ago, it's just crazy. All this stuff happening with As I Lay Dying.
Oh, bro.
I don't know if you heard about the Annalyn vocalist faking cancer. Did you hear about that?
I seen the Nick Nocturnal.
Yeah.
I've seen the cover thing on YouTube, and I'm like, I don't think I want to get into this one, to be honest. Like, I've never really kept up to date with any of that stuff.
You're a no drama kind of guy.
Yeah, like being a dad just takes time. I just want to be able to be the best dad that I can be, because, unfortunately getting caught up in all that drama, it just plays such a negative part in your life. Mental health goes down the drain, everything goes down the drain, and then, inherently you end up, relationship goes to shit. And my job as a father, obviously, is to make sure my partner and my child are at the best health they can be, in the best position they can be. And if I'm not good, then my family inherently isn't either. And that's where my time is more so going to, is just getting from A to B and trying to be the best, happiest person that I can be. If it means I need to fucking switch off my phone and ask the questions that I need to ask, then, my time's going to be spent more so with my family. Or in the studio writing riffs.
So what do you guys have coming up for 2025, and what's kind of the vision? What are your upcoming plans and dreams?
Yeah, big one there, dreams. I've been submitting us to a bunch of shows, a bunch of companies that are as well, like Destroy All Lines and all that kind of stuff. We've all had heaps of touring experience and stuff like that, so we just kind of want to jump straight into it. Want to start playing a heap of shows. We've got 2 singles sorted. One that's Fraser's written. One's more of like a Deftones-y kind of thing. I'm going to put my spin on it. But it'd be predominantly all his. We want to get that filmed. We've got a single that's pretty much done already. Get that filmed, and we've got probably 5 or 6 songs that's going to be written for an album. So we'll be busy musically, but then our target's going to be just getting out and trying to get on board with some of these companies and some of these promoters and stuff, and just try and get out and see some old friends and have fun again,
Hopefully this podcast episode too will help spread the word, man. It was super good talking to you today. And
you too, bro.
Thanks again for joining me.
Well, thank you. We'll do another one again soon, hey?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating/review. 5 stars is a power play. And there's lots more metalcore band interviews coming soon, so be sure to follow the show and keep up with me on social medias at Spencer Whiteout to stay up to date. As always, stay tuned, stay hyped. That's a wrap.
And that's it.